In 1971, when I graduated from the University of Missouri with an engineering degree, it was not a good time for engineers. Maybe you might remember when engineers were driving taxi cabs and all kinds of different things because they had been laid off. And so I interviewed many different companies and finally did receive a job offer from Armco Steel Company. But as I would interview those companies and I would get those letters in the mail, I'd be excited to open those letters, and then I would get that rejection. And I'm sorry, but we do not have a position for you at this time. And maybe that's a little bit like we as Christians sometimes think about God and about us going to heaven. That maybe somehow we are going to be rejected. Kind of like maybe this letter from the Pearly Gates Underwriting Division. It says, "Dear Mrs. Smith, I'm writing in response to this morning's request for forgiveness. I'm sorry to inform you that you have reached your quota of sins. Our records show that since employing our services, you have erred 7 times in the area of greed. And your prayer life is substandard when compared to others of like age and circumstance. Further review reveals that your understanding of doctrine is in the lower 20%, and you have excessive tendencies to gossip. Because of your sins, you are a high-risk candidate for heaven. You understand that grace has its limits. Jesus sends his regards and kindest regards and hopes that you will find some other form of coverage." Fortunately, we know that's not true, is it? We know that Jesus Christ forgives unlimited number of sins because of his death on his cross and our belief. But this morning I would like to give you some glimpses, in fact 10 glimpses of heaven, because that's where we are going to be spending our eternity. Now, Revelation is a book of apocalyptic language or symbolic language, so that's why it's so hard to understand, and we have to understand the symbols and what's going on here. It was written by John the Apostle. He was on the island of Patmos, which was a Roman penal colony. And when he wrote, therefore, the Romans certainly would have perused his letters and would not have sent them through if it was going to further Christianity. But they thought he was just a raving maniac because he was writing these things that seemed to make no sense. It was probably the last book of the Bible, of the New Testament written, and probably about 90 A.D. John would have been a very old man. And in the book of Revelation, God gives John these glimpses of heaven, these beautiful glimpses of heaven that are just, we could call them the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, because it's all about Jesus and God on the throne and all of the saints and all that is going on. But Revelation also gives us glimpses of earth. And these glimpses continue and recycle, because the book of Revelation actually covers from the time of Jesus' ascension until Jesus' second coming, the New Testament times, the very times we're in right now. And as you read Revelation and you look at these glimpses of earth, they are terrible, isn't it? Because terrible things go on right here on earth. So the first question I would ask of you and of myself, who will I see in heaven? It says in verse 9 of the lesson, a great multitude from every nation. So there's going to be a lot of people there. And we'll see some of those people and we'll say to ourselves, boy, I didn't think they were going to be here. Some of those people will look at us and say, wow, I didn't think they were going to be here. Where will I be in heaven? It says, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. The throne of God the Father, the Lamb, the sacrificial Lamb, Jesus Christ. We will be together, brothers and sisters, before the throne. What will I look like? says, clothed in white robes with palm branches in their hands. I always find it interesting, you know, you have a white robe, and it is made white by the blood of Christ. How can that be? Well, white is the purity of Jesus Christ, who washed us clean through his death on the cross. And the palm branches are like the palm branches of Palm Sunday, where the people tore palm branches off the trees and laid them before Jesus Christ, and this was what people did for a king. And that's why we celebrate that wonderful Sunday, and why we will continue to celebrate that for eternity. Number 4, what will I be doing? Crying out with a loud voice.